soaked up the early pressure, you took the lead, but you end up having to leave here with defeat. What did you make overall of your team's performance?
Yeah, look, nowhere near good enough. Especially in the first half, we're just way too passive and allowed Arsenal to sort of dictate the game. Like I said, we hung in there, but that's all we were doing. And second half was a little bit better, but nowhere near good enough. And unacceptable.
What can you do about that when you're standing on the sidelines and you can see that your team are too passive?
Well, ultimately, I guess the responsibility lies to me and how we prepared the players and what their mindset was going out there. It certainly wasn't our intent when we started the game. Like I said, second half was a little bit better, but certainly in the first half, nowhere near the standards we want to set.
At 2-1, though, there's always a chance right up until the end that you can still come away with something out of the game. And Pedro Porro came closest, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm more interested in how we go about playing our football, and it wasn't anywhere near the level today.
How do you go about changing that for the next game, then?
We've got no choice. We just go back to work and prepare for a tough game.
I can see and I can hear from how you're explaining things that it's another tough defeat to take for you. How much do these losses hurt you?
They're not of course they hurt me, but they're just not acceptable. We've had too many losses this year, too many games where we've let get away from us, and that needs to stop.
It is 11 defeats at this stage, which is the most that Tottenham have had in a league season since 2009. Does it feel like you can still salvage something out of this season in terms of the league?
Well, there's no other way of looking at it. If you sort of give up now, then there's no point. But it needs to stop, yeah.
What would success look like for you now, then?
Look, I think right now we just got a big game on the weekend against Everton, and that's our focus, and we'll look what happens beyond then after that.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, there are the 11 defeats after 21 matches and the years they've had them. They're also in the table. Only once in the last 27 years have they been this low in the top flight at this stage of the season. Well, he didn't hold back there, Tim. Nowhere near good enough, unacceptable, nowhere near the level that they were after.
Yeah, he feels like every Tottenham fan feels at the moment. It hurts, to lose a North London derby, it hurts. But on the back of a poor run of form as well, he's authentic. I like him. I mean, he says it how he don't shirk any responsibility there. He's taking it on his chin. He knows he's the manager. The buck stops with him. And if the team doesn't perform, as a manager, you have to take the responsibility. But he doesn't try and shift the responsibility onto anyone. Wasn't blaming any referees, wasn't blaming any individual players. He's blaming himself, he's blaming his coaching team.
Is he right to do that?
Well, yeah, because you're the manager and he's real, he's realistic. We've seen plenty of managers in the past try and look for every excuse under the sun to protect their team and protect themselves. He's not trying to do that. He's taking the responsibility upon himself. And I admire him for that, I really do. I think that you got to give this guy time to work with a group of players what are capable of playing his identity and intensity week in, week out. And unfortunately, they fell foul of injuries. I'm making excuses for him because he doesn't look to make them. They've had injuries there. They are missing key players, especially to their back players. But today, he saw the game exactly like we saw it. They were second class to a first class Arsenal performance, and they look like they're a long way away from challenging the likes of Arsenal's and the Liverpools and the Chelseas and even Man United, who've started, Newcastle as well, Aston Villas. The objective every season as a Tottenham manager is, whether it's realistic or not, is to finish in the top four in the Champions League. They've had a recent history of doing that. Pochettino did it time and time again, took them to the semi-final of that competition. So they're capable of doing it. The club know that, but they're nearer to the relegation than they are to top four at the moment. So that can't be right. So something has to give. Now, for me, it's not the manager who has to give. I think you need to give them help in the transfer market. It's not as if Tottenham don't spend the money. They do spend the money. But they need to find the right players to give to this man so he can work with them, and hopefully they can get a run of games together and push him out the league. I still maintain they beat anyone on their day. They're a cup side for me. If they can go on and win the Carabao Cup, they're 1-0 lead. They've got to go to Anfield, albeit in the second leg. It's going to be tough for them. If they can win that game, they go to a final at Wembley. You never know. If he can win a trophy this year, it will be deemed a success by them fans who were very disappointed tonight. To the hierarchy, to the owners of the club, a success, they'll be pleased. But if they finish where they are in the league, which is 13th position, they would deem that as a failure with the bread and butter, which is the Premier League.
And that run, Adi, is 5 points from 27 now for Tottenham.
Looking at the gaffer speaking about the team, you can see the sadness on his face. You can definitely he's going to make some changes. He's not saying it. They were nowhere close to the level of Arsenal or the opponent, as he said today. So you can just tell that he's going to make changes, and you can see the keeper making mistake upon mistakes. You can make one mistake in a game where you have the ball, you keep it, the striker comes to press you, you don't know what to do. But he didn't. He's a great goalkeeper. He's very young. He will learn. He will be much better in the future. But like, you made 3-4 mistakes in a big game. Like, you kick the ball away. You understand what I mean? So for me, I think is the team, the club itself. They have to make a lot of changes. As he said, the team. They have to find a way to bring some players in. This manager, you can tell he's not far from giving up. He's definitely not far from giving up. But for him to have hope, if in January, if they can get him 1 or 2 players now before he can bring his own list onto the board and tell them these are the players that I want to work with next season, it's going to be a whole different story. Because looking at the players, the way they're playing today, you can tell what he asked them to do. They didn't do anything at all today, because you can see the way they were losing the ball, they were losing position. When the ball is at this side, you can see the fullback in front of, like, what are they actually doing? And for him, being on the side as a manager, I think he must be really confused tonight. He will go home and be asking himself, why am I even a manager? Because at some point, those are the questions we ask ourselves. Why am I even a footballer? Missing these kind of chances, missing this control, missing the easy thing. But today, it's not his fault. He make a plan. He has a plan. He put it out there, but the player couldn't respect it. Like, they couldn't respect it even to up to 10%. That's very, very poor from a team like Tottenham. As he said, when I first moved to England, Tottenham is a team that we respected because they always have a way of finishing in the top 4. When I was in Arsenal, the same thing. When I moved to Tottenham, it was the same thing. But this year, it's looking like they are going towards relegation zone than being in the top 4. So they have to make the changes now.
And you said at half-time that from the opposition point of view, they always give you a chance, don't they, playing against Spurs?
Yeah, I think obviously there was loads of chances that Arsenal created from Tottenham's mistakes, really, inviting that pressure onto them. Arsenal went quite aggressive with the press. But yeah, Tottenham was still playing into that, really. They weren't playing or thinking of playing over the press or going long. They did it once or twice, but there was countless occasions there where Arsenal's press was good. Tottenham got sucked into it, and Arsenal nicked it off and created a chance from that. I think, obviously, from a Tottenham perspective, they'd be disappointed with that, and they were far from at their best tonight. I think with the players that they have available at the moment and things like that, everybody needs to take responsibility there, and whether that be the style of their playing or what them players are asked to do as well. I felt like they were really open tonight and exposed, especially on them counter-attacking, actions that Arsenal created against them.
We know they're open. They play with that open style. They got, is it the 3rd best defence away from home in the league?
Yeah, it was the best at half-time.
The best. I mean, people would be falling off their armchairs listening to that. I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
They play so open, but it's because they play more aggressive when they're away from home.
I did triple check it with our head of stats, don't worry.
Yeah,
and he
so
assured me it was
checked
correct,
it. I mean, it's an incredible stat to have the best defence away from home in the league. No one would have guessed that. But that's out there. That's true. But they have to find a way to... The strength, I said, was their front players.
You keep saying find a way, but you keep saying that Postecoglu won't change.
He won't change.
Style. So what is the way then?
Well, to find a way to find personnel.
The only way I think it should be bring some players that understand his mentality and understand the way he wants them to play.
So you're saying that they don't really grasp what the plan is?
Because you can tell he's a manager that wants his team, no matter what situation, they should play like old days with Arsene Wenger. We are losing 2-0, 5 minutes to go, and with Thierry Henry, you are telling all the boys, kick the ball front. Arsene Wenger is like, no, keep the ball on the floor and pass it around.
Yeah.
This is the type of manager that he is. But the players today are not taking responsibility on the pitch, are not doing the job for him properly. Then it's causing him a problem.
And you have to take responsibility yourself as a player, and decision-making is wrong. I mean, we saw goals. We could see a couple of goals, what they've conceded, where I think they're too aggressive. The fullbacks are too aggressive with their positions, and they're leaving gaping holes down the side of centre-backs. It cannot happen, but that's individuals making that. He's not saying to Pedro Porro, go as high as you can when we haven't got good possession, and you're almost like a right winger. And then when the ball breaks down, then it's a 1v1 down the side of the central defender. It cannot be right. That is wrong, but that's fundamental problems, what they have to identify themselves and manage on the pitch. He cannot hold their hand every minute of every game. He can tell them how he wants them to play, which is they're enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. Every day they're in training, they think, well, we're playing with the ball. The manager trusts us to go toe-to-toe with whoever we play. It's fantastic as a player. As attacking players, and like that. You know, it's hard sometimes for the defenders because they're going to be left 1v1 all of the time. But if you're not prepared to play 1v1, Romero is, Van der Ven is, but they're injured at the moment. So they're bringing in other players. Perhaps they need a little bit covering up. So at times, you know, the likes of Archie Gray or Dragusin needs to say to Pedro Porro, just stay in here for a minute. Jed Spence, just stay there. Just Basuma, just protect me in there for a minute. Manage it yourself on the pitch.
You're saying that's a player's responsibility on the pitch, not a coaching one before you go on.
I think it's both. I think it's a responsibility to the manager to set the plan.
I'm pretty sure it's a plan that the manager told them he would never tell them to go front, even though if they are not in a good position. Like if you see the second goal of Arsenal, Spencer, how you call it?
Yeah, Jed Spence.
Spence passed the ball to Bissouma. He was asking for 1-2, right? But the other one, Sporo, was already as a right wing. You can't do that playing against Arsenal. You know, obviously, we know that they are going to have the ball, or they knew that Arsenal will have the ball. So the most you can do is stay behind the ball. You can never be in front of the ball playing against Arsenal because these players are just too good with the ball. And for me, I'm pretty sure he told them that, but they are not respecting it. They are thinking of attacking. You have to attack, you have to defend first. Yeah. You have to be clever, find a way to defend properly before having the ball. When you're in a good position, you attack. In every situation, Tottenham's players want to attack. And for me also, the thing that they are doing also, they are not taking the easier decision where they can play one touch, they are trying to control the ball, try to turn inside. No, play one, you see the goal, you see the pass from Odegaard. This is 1-2. He didn't do it, he turned around. The tackle, look at the pass. Yeah. If you put any Tottenham players there, he will not do that one pass. You see Odegaard, one touch in the space. But this is how you respect the game. Look, it's finished. But Tottenham are not doing that. They are making life so difficult for this beautiful manager.
Well, they had 5 or 6 players on the top line there. And I mean, you know, if they do lose the ball, they're so open to their counter-attack.
Look at the right back. Look at where he is. What are you doing there?
It's okay being wide and expansive and very high if you've got good possession. When you haven't, it's a fight ball in the middle of the pitch. When you haven't got good possession, you need to be more secure and more responsible. But they're not. They're high and wide far too early when they haven't got good possession in the midfield, and they're paying the price. Not just today, but all season they paid the price for that.
But just on the pitch, you're saying that's the player's responsibility. That's not the way they've been set up by the manager.
No, they have to manage it. No one's saying to Pedro Porro, go there too high too early, saying go high at the right times, but wait until we have good possession. If I was Postecoglu, I'd be saying, I like you, Pedro, top man in the final third, but you have to be more responsible. And sometimes you have to still develop these players. Jed Spence still a young man. Pedro Porro, if he's not willing to be developed, I'm sure he is, then don't have him in your squad. But you need to teach him at the right times to go. And he's very good in the final third, we know that. But just stay in that position. If they block that hole up, there's no pass down the side of the right side centre-back for them 2 goals.
I think one thing that is also important is you have to know your opponent, who you're playing against. If, as opposed to play against Tottenham today, I will be one of the most happiest striker on earth. Yeah. Why? I would just wait, they had the ball, and I would just go on one side and be sleeping. As soon as we got the ball, I would just do this. Because you play against Thierry Henry like this, he will get hat-trick every day. Because he will just go on the right side, take the ball, come inside and cut. That's what you have to do. So at some point, the manager will tell them, I'm pretty sure the manager is not telling them, go front. No. But they have to also take responsibility. If you want to be a good player tomorrow, you want to have a chance to leave Tottenham and go to a better club or a bigger club, then you have to respect the team and you have to respect yourself. Be in your zone. Stay in your zone. But today, what we are saying, if I can't mention one Tottenham player that I can say he was good today.
No, I think as a player as well, you do need to take that responsibility. I think I've been in teams in the past as well when you go in dribs and drabs and you're maybe pressing in a 2 and a 3 and the whole team are not going together and these gaps are starting to appear. But then you need to have that sort of feeling then on the pitch of, OK, it's happened twice or 3 times now. They've played around us and it has been some dangerous moments. Right, let's just all get back into a bit of shape. Get them to one side, and then we can start our press from there and maybe force them and use the touchline for that. For me, Tottenham are going on a bit all over the place, and the back line's maybe staying a bit too deep at the moment, and these massive holes are appearing, and their full-backs are getting exposed in positions they don't like. If there's a turnover, they are getting hurt.
From the beginning of the game, you can see they were trying to play from the back. After 10 minutes, it's not working. Find a way to adapt yourself to the game. Play long ball on the striker. You should find a way to keep the ball for you to move forward. But they were still trying. Yeah. That's when the keeper made 2-3 mistakes in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. So, listen, if you're on a game like this, derby, you have to adapt yourself. You know that, okay, you are trying to control the ball, it's not working, don't come anymore, go behind. If you are going behind, you realize that the fullback or the right back or the defender is quicker than you, then come deep. You have to adapt yourself. This is a big game. And maybe these are the chances that we had. You score a lot of goals in this kind of derby. This is what I do. If I ask for the ball, I realize that Ledley King or Dawson is killing me. I'm like, okay, you know what? Thomas Rosicky, Cesc Fabregas, put the ball behind, let's run. But these are the things that they have to do. They knew that giving the ball to Bissouma, most of the time, this season, he's losing it. It's costing them a goal. How can that happen again today in a derby? Yeah. It's not normal.
They play the word I can use for them, which is not only today, but when I watch Tottenham mostly, is hectic. That is why they're hectic all of the time. If you look at their 3 midfield players today, Papsa, Bogva, Basuma, whenever they get the ball and there's space in front, they drive. It's like as if they're being chased. Someone's chasing them. They're running with the ball, trying to break lines. You get the ball to Johnson when he comes on. He's burning it up. Kulusevski, the same. Solanke, Son on the side. There's no one control. There's no control. They take too many touches, too much of the time. They need that person in there. That's why I think when Maddison come on, he helped him. He helped him with more control because he's more. He just takes the pace out of the game, moves the time on. He passes it, gets some breather. They can rest on the ball. It is very.
I think rhythm is massive as well. You
as he said, he's a midfielder.
When you actually want to go somewhere with intent, or if you want to drive. And then there's times when you need a Maddison to come on the pitch and just go, right, let's just calm it down and get 3 or 4 passes.
Just rest on the ball.
Rest on the ball. And
big
then
players know when to play one touch, when to control the ball. I had a chance to play with all these Modric, Xabi Alonso, list goes on, Ozil. But at some point, the game will ask you to play one touch. But if you look at Papsa, Bissouma, they are all my brothers, but they never play one touch. But that's what the game asks for. Sometimes you play one touch, then you take the ball, then you go. That's Yaya Toure. We all knew how great he was, but like he played one touch, then he drop in, then he come back. But like you can't just be taking the ball and be going all the time like they're doing. They are not big, they are not too strong, and most of the time it's causing. My problem is, it's a mistake, right? If it's not costing us goals, okay, it's still a mistake, but it's costing you guys goals. How many times did Bissouma lost the ball that they consider a goal this season? Maybe 3, maybe 4. But how you want to be in the top 4, making the same mistake week in, week out?
They need to find a way, don't they, to win. Get the right balance between what exactly he wants to do and his principles and things like that he wants to implement, but also get results.
It's not as if they can't win playing like this, but they're never ever going to be consistently winning playing like that.
Well, they've won once in 9 games, and that was against Southampton, the bottom club.
Yeah.
Playing like that.
Yeah. But they have beaten Man City playing like that. They can beat the best playing like that, but everything has to go their way. And the goalkeeper has to play very well, and they have to make last-ditch tackles. When with Van der Ven playing or Romero, perhaps they can play this way. Yep. If they go into the transfer market and bring some different personnel in, perhaps they can play the Postecoglu way. At the moment, they're struggling. Look, I don't care how they play. Perhaps to challenge the likes of Arsenal at the moment, the likes of Liverpool, And Man City, Nottingham Forest at the moment, I mean, they beat them as well, you know, on the counter-attack. They sucked them in, they caught them on the break. Perhaps they need better players to be able to do that. But they are losing games against lower sides as well. You're absolutely right. That run of form there is not good enough, and they need to start picking up. But let's just hope when they play in the Cups, they do have their day, because they're capable of beating anyone.